Hello and welcome to Back to the Feature, the show where we look at movies past, present, and future. Today, we're taking a movie that takes a blast to the past in Peggy Sue Got Married.
Peggy Sue got married not long ago.
Hi guys, I'm your host Giovanni Carlo, sitting here with my usual two friends, John Vandeloo and Giancarlo. Today, we're taking a look at Francis Ford Coppola's Peggy Sue Got Married. Peggy Sue Got Married is a story about a woman who, before going to her 25th high school reunion, is separated from her husband and is very unsure about how she feels going into it. When she's brought on stage, when she's recrowned homecoming queen, she faints and is transported back to high school in 1960. So as I stated before, this is a movie by Francis Ford Coppola, which I think is pretty interesting when you consider Apocalypse Now and the Godfather films, that this is also one that he made, because it's much more of a comedy. It has a very interesting cast of characters with Kathleen Turner, Nicolas Cage, a young Jim Carrey, and actually a young Joan Allen as well.
Yeah.
This movie was nominated for 3 Oscars in the year 1986 for Best Actress, Cinematography, and Costume Design. So, I mean, this is a movie that actually has, quite a pedigree when you look at it.
Yeah.
So, guys, what are then the positives you guys got from watching Peggy Sue Got Married?
It's actually really surprising because I never heard of this movie before. So this is just one of those movies that got lost in the shuffle of the 80s for me, and it's actually a pretty good movie. I think the premise is really fun. Time travel, alternate reality.
We're experts on that.
Who doesn't love that, you know? Like you were saying before, too, young Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And even though his performance is a little shaky in here, he's such a bizarre actor, and I couldn't help but, enjoy how weird he is in this film.
Nicolas Cage is one of those guys that I always think and then he just swings through the fences.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes he just strikes out. And
The bees!
How to get burned? How to get burned? How to get burned? Yeah. So, yeah, this is definitely a swing for the fences performance. And this is actually really, a very young performance. One of his first major films that he ever did was this one.
Nephew of Francis Ford Coppola.
I
For
get
those
you
of you who
work.
don't know, yeah.
So, Gian, what were some of the positives you had from this film then?
Well, I think my favorite aspect of it is just the characters and the acting. Kathleen Turner just did really well. We really bought everything that she went through in the movie, from going back in time to sort of having that YOLO, I'm just going to do whatever I want stage.
Don't say YOLO. We're sorry.
I'm bringing it back. No, I'm kidding. But that's what she does, right? She's like, I'm probably already dead, so I'm just gonna.
Oh, that was one of my favorite parts actually. She goes to pour herself a drink when she's in the past, and she says, "I'm probably dead anyway."
Yeah.
She just takes the drink. It's pretty funny.
And then when she starts interacting with the characters, she goes along with it and tries to change some stuff, and you really buy that. And I thought all the other characters are really authentic as well, really sold it. A lot of the actors and stuff, even back then, they're just really good. Like seeing young Jim Carrey in there, just already stealing the scene in every scene he's in, he's already stealing the show.
Cutting some drugs up.
Yeah. And it's he wasn't even that big yet. He wasn't that big yet.
Yeah, he really doesn't. He doesn't have a huge part in the movie, but when he is on screen, he's very funny. He brings that energy that we're used to seeing from Jim Carrey.
Yeah, and then I guess that, and it really did feel like it was the '60s, like we were saying before. It felt really authentic, and it was good. I liked it.
Of the Oscar nominations this movie received, I definitely think that the costume design was pretty well deserved.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the whole '60s atmosphere. I thought that Nicolas Cage was pretty great. Everybody looked great.
The doo-wop singing group, Jim Carrey, Nicolas Cage.
That was pretty great.
And then I think Kathleen Turner, I think she really was the glue for this movie. I found myself laughing at a lot of the things that she was saying and the way she was reacting to some of the stuff. And I think that's, for me, one of the biggest positives of this movie, I think, is the concept. That it's, she is an adult woman in this teenager's body where, she even talks about it, she has these opportunities to kind of do things over. And she has, this knowledge and experience. And, she kind of uses that to kind of inform the decision she makes while she has this trip to the past. It takes her a little bit to get acquainted to it, but I think that when the movie comes from that angle, I think it's really strong.
I really liked Richard too, the genius from high school.
Oh,
She
yeah,
knew
yeah.
he was like a millionaire in the future, you know. So when she meets up with him in the past, like, you're really smart, right? Do you believe in time travel? Like, you
Now,
know,
this is the one of the things, though, that I was like, you know, she obviously has never traveled in time or seen any time traveling movies because she knows that that's going to mess with the time continuum. She's like giving him all these ideas and things that she can invent and stuff like that.
Another one of my favorite moments too in the film is when she walks into the lingerie store and like one of the teachers walks by and sees him like, Richard, you know, and he's just like, I'm studying the woven fabric patterns for like my kite project or something.
Yeah, I found myself actually out loud laughing at a lot of this movie. I had a fun time watching it. I think it's very funny, and for it being a time travel movie, I think it does put its own spin on it. So I think that's a lot of fun. So guys, all that being said, what are some of the negatives you had from this film?
I don't know. I think like I felt the narrative was pretty decent, but at the same time, like Peggy Sue's motivations, I felt like were a little uneven.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Like her age and experience and knowledge of everything, it just some of the stuff she did in the film, it didn't make sense to me why she would choose to do the certain things that she did at times. And like leading up to the end of the film too, like I guess like it kind of came out of nowhere too. Like the ending is not what I assumed was gonna happen, but what happened, I thought they didn't quite sell it.
Yeah,
for me.
I definitely agree. I feel like the ending of the movie was kind of the part for me that didn't quite work.
Like it didn't bother me. I guess a lot of people out there probably haven't seen this movie, so I don't want to give spoilers away.
Bruce Willis was a ghost of the end Sixth Sense.
It's an old movie.
It's old enough.
Sue us. And I guess one of the negatives for me was I shared a very similar opinion to the director, which was Nicolas Cage's choice of acting. I'm not saying it was bad.
He struck out.
It was. At best, it was distracting, you know. You're just sitting there, and we know what Nicolas Cage looks and sounds like, and he's like, I'm trying to see if I can do an impression. He's doing this voice, like,
So it was a little more high pitched too,
his
like
voice, you know, and it sounds like a guy that's making fun of Nicolas Cage, being Nicolas Cage, you know, and you can see really early on, and the entertaining aspect of this, you see really early on that even before he was a big actor, before he was even a B-lister, he was already making these crazy Nicolas Cage decisions.
Well,
you know?
he's gone and said before that he believes that every famous actor has a very distinctive voice, and he's tried to have distinctive voices. I think that's probably why he didn't back down from his uncle on this one, where he's just sort of like, no, I've got to do the voice here because it's going to set me apart. It's going to make me the next Jimmy Stewart. I think Nick Cage always wanted to be the next Jimmy Stewart. I know that is extremely laughable.
He didn't have it down yet.
He didn't have it down yet.
Right.
He didn't have the Cage voice. But yeah, I think that it's something where, like I said, he takes these big swings in every movie he's in. Sometimes it can be really interesting, like and work, and then sometimes it just doesn't. And I didn't find this one to work for me either.
I was almost crying from laughter in the car attempt sex scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, it was just too much.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was funny too because I was doing researching the movie a little bit. Is that the shot of that is in the IMDb page for the movie? The picture of him making that face, which I thought somebody had to have uploaded that as a troll, like for Nicolas Cage. You know, like we have to have as many weird Nicolas Cage faces on the internet anywhere, and on the official IMDb page is that like. A look on his face.
Meme makers everywhere. There you go. You can find that photo then. So I think this is kind of the obvious thing. It came out a year after Back to the Future. So in my own mind, like when I started watching this, I couldn't help but try to start making comparisons to it. So how do you guys think that? Do you think that this was just a movie that was just supposed to be a cash grab at the success of Back to the Future? Or do you think that it stands on its own?
I think it does stand on its own, and I think that's why Francis Ford Coppola would have chosen to even do it in the first place. I don't think he was trying to rip off Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Or just cash in on the success of another time travel movie, so we're going to do this one.
I couldn't name them off all of them off the top of my head, but there was probably quite a few there in the 80s. It was kind of a big topic
Yeah, but
You know?
plus like the '60s was like a movie. It was a time period that was really easy to go back in time to at the time.
Yeah.
and also really fun. You know, at least for us now, it's fun to go back to the '60s. But in the '80s, it feels like they could do it more easily, like, easier to get access to the clothing and the cars and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely harder to direct a movie in like the 50s, 60s now without green screen.
Yeah. I mean,
Sure.
well, you know, they did a good job with that 11/22/63 show.
Yep.
But
I was
I
just
mean,
telling him today to watch that.
Dang it.
It is a bit bigger project though.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie definitely stands on its own. It doesn't look like it's trying to, like, it feels like a totally different movie. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly did not even think about, the only time I thought about Back to the Future was just the fact that it goes back to the
Yeah.
60s. Otherwise, I didn't have anything to really,
Yeah, I felt the
Yeah.
same way, like, where initially coming in, I was like, oh, I wonder how close this is going to be. And as the movie went on, there was less and less comparisons in my mind.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said before, one of the positives of the movie, the fact that she is this person that has this life experience in that younger body, it's very different than Marty going back. Like, Marty has information, yes,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have that life experience. He isn't an older person in a younger
Yeah.
person's
He's got
body.
Doc Brown there with him.
Yeah, where I kind of like that, like, second chance kind of thing that she gets in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the movie, like, pays that off very well.
This is more drama elements.
yeah. Could you imagine if Doc Brown was in this movie, like, as her mentor, and you're like, "No, what are you doing? You can't change the space-time continuum." You know, 'cause
Yeah.
She was doing some stuff that would give Doc Brown an aneurysm. like, trying to get in with
Damn.
the guys, and yeah.
Damn.
All right, guys, so it's time for final summaries and grades. So, John?
Peggy Sue Got Married, it's a fun and often heartfelt movie about past regrets, teen dreams, and the relationships we have with people along the way. I enjoy the comedic elements of this film. I enjoy the dramatic elements of this film. I like Nick Cage. It was fun seeing Jim Carrey. It's a great time travel movie. It's one of those kind of the hidden gems of the 80s. I mean, it's not a masterpiece by any means, but it is an enjoyable flick to turn on and watch. So I give this movie a B.
Gian?
I agree with you there. The premise is pretty simple. It doesn't like, there isn't this big thing where you got to go back and get your parents to meet and stuff. But it's just she's back in her old body. She's just in the past interacting with it, and it does a lot with that just simple premise. Like, there's some character depth, there's some development there. There's some really let's say adult, mature themes in this movie that they tackle, and which I think was a pretty brave thing to do. And it pulls it off really well. It really does. Apart from a couple of things that maybe don't quite get up there, Nicolas Cage's performance, maybe the ending of the movie, but otherwise I bought it. I enjoyed watching it. And I recommend that people check it out if you're interested in 80s movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd give this movie a B as well.
Some people say that high school is the best time of your life. Peggy Sue Got Married attempts to answer this question. It's very funny, has a really great time playing around in the 1960s. It's bolstered by a very good cast, and honestly is worth a watch. I had very low expectations walking into this because I'd never really heard of this movie, and I really enjoyed it. I found myself actually belly laughing at quite a few of the scenes. So guys, if you want to find a fun comedy about time travel, Peggy Sue Got Married is a great choice. I would say that I also give this movie a B, so 3 Bs right across the board. Definitely worth your time, check it out. So that's been our episode this week, reviewing Peggy Sue Got Married by Francis Ford Coppola. Make sure that you guys are following along with us at Twitter with our 31 Days of Horror Advent Calendar. John and I are releasing small videos for you guys every single day, so go and check it out on our channel. Even jump back and take a look at some of these movies. We're having a lot of fun watching horror movies all month long. Remember to like and subscribe, comment down below, and also follow us on Twitter at BacktoFeature. I've been your host, Giovanni Carlo.
I'm John Vandeloo.
And Gian Carlo.
We'll see you guys next week.
Peggy Sue got married not long ago.